Donald Trump's administration is packed with a mix of incompetence and corruption, con artists, criminals, clueless loyalists, and plenty who manage to be all three at once. One standout is Patel, easily among the least capable people to ever serve under Trump, yet somehow one of the most destructive. His failures have been so spectacular that even Trump is starting to notice. Tensions between Patel and other MAGA insiders have always simmered beneath the surface. But his latest blunder has ignited a full-blown internal feud that's now impossible to ignore. We're going to break down this MAGA civil war and everything that's gone wrong with Patel. But before we dive in, please take a second to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Your support helps keep this work going. Now let's start with how Patel is burning through taxpayer dollars during a shutdown that Donald Trump himself caused, a shutdown that's left millions of children without food assistance.
In 2023 and 2024, when the current FBI director was working as a podcaster obsessed with cleaning out the deep state, slashing government spending, he had one specific idea about how to do it.
Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Go take their money. Chris Wray doesn't need a private jet.
We're not the guys running around on private jets. And somebody maybe in Congress should ask for how many flights on a private jet Director Comey took, or my predecessor Director Wray took, and how many personal trips they took.
Don't knock it until you try it. That's what I say about private jets. The use of government jets for personal travel by former FBI director was sort of an obsession of Patel's for years. In 2023, Patel called former director Chris Wray a, quote, government gangster for his jet usage, which is why it was surprising to see Patel repost this photo on Sunday of him in his FBI-branded hoodie out on a date with his country singer girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. Now, Wilkins was performing at a Penn State sporting event on Saturday. And if you're wondering how Patel got there to support her, well, public flight logs show he took a taxpayer-funded government jet. Later that night, that same jet flew from Pennsylvania to Nashville, where Patel's girlfriend lives. Now, I should know, FBI directors are required by law to use government planes for security purposes. It's a point Patel raised in May when Senate Democrats last inquired about his jet usage.
Oh, this is a great point. Do you know why I have to use a private jet? Because Congress made it mandatory.
Okay, in April 5th, well, we didn't make it mandatory that you go to UFC games with Mel Gibson.
Are you telling me I can't go home?
You got to use some judgment here.
I love the logic there. I had to go to the event. So what, I'm supposed to stay there? Well, you don't have to go to every event. Patel's lack of judgment when using a taxpayer-funded plane for private excursions during a government shutdown on the eve of SNAP benefits running out is really just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we have seen members of the Trump administration taking advantage of government perks, like DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who spent more than $172 million on private jets. Now The Atlantic is reporting that officials like Stephen Miller, Noem, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and others are living in homes meant for generals on military bases. They say it's for security reasons, though they already have personal security details, and in the past, those people with those jobs didn't occupy these homes. They all seem to be taking Trump's cues. They can help themselves to the public till.
Tens of millions of Americans are losing their food assistance, and Patel is on a private jet to go hang out with his girlfriend, who's probably a secret agent. Like, she's probably MSAD. There is no way that Patel, with the way he looks and the way he talks and the way he acts, has any interest from any women. It's like, I was shocked that, Stephen Miller had a wife until I heard her speak and kind of saw her face go like, and just be like, I'm gonna deport you. And I was like, oh, nope, that tracks now. But Patel, get thee out of here. I don't believe this. But this is the administration of jets and of waste. They talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. Christine Noem is spending like a medieval prince, blowing all our cash on her Botox, on her jets. Donald Trump loves jets. He's spending billions of dollars to refit the one he got from Qatar, and that's their focus. It's not doing their job. It's not keeping us safe. The opposite is actually the case, because as Kash Patel takes all of his cues from Donald Trump, one of those cues is overusing Twitter, and it is getting us into some deep, and it has now gotten Kash Patel into some deep. And I want to take a look in this article right here. Pam Bondi blows up at Keystone Cash for terror bus boasts. FBI Director Kash Patel has caused frustration within the Trump administration after he touted a terror bust before agents and prosecutors could get their facts straight. A report alleges among those allegedly peeved at the embattled director, already under fire for jetting to watch his girlfriend's concert and visit her city on a government plane this week, is Attorney General Pam Bondi and her deputy Todd Blanche. Sources told MSNBC Patel, 45, posted to X at 7:32 a.m. that the FBI had thwarted a potential terrorist attack and arrested multiple subjects in Michigan who were allegedly plotting a violent attack over Halloween weekend. The director did not share additional details about the attack in Detroit, Michigan, suburb of Dearborn, but promised there would be more to come. Patel's rush to take a victory lap mere hours, if not less, after agents made the bust did not sit right with some officials in the Bureau. Sources told MSNBC the network's justice and intelligence correspondent posted on X that senior FBI officials are frustrated that Patel's announcement went public before a criminal complaint was prepared and before key details were clear, including what exactly this plot entailed. The FBI did not respond to a request for comment. Patel posted later Friday that a violent plot tied to international terrorism was disrupted. He wrote, "This is what defending the homeland looks like. Vigilance saves lives." The Bureau released no other details about the foiled attack or those who were arrested. MSNBC sources said the plot involved a group of young people, some of whom are minors, who had been engaging with online Islamic extremist content. MSNBC noted that none of these detained were immediately charged. Friday was not the first time Patel has ruffled feathers in the administration by seemingly jumping the gun on an arrest announcement. Patel was widely ridiculed in September for announcing that the FBI had arrested a suspect in the assassination of the right-wing commentator Charlie Kirk. A man was detained mere hours after the attack, which Patel blasted to his millions of followers on social media, but was ultimately released and determined to have no involvement in the slang. The FBI's actual murder suspect, Tyler Robinson, was not taken into custody until more than 24 hours later. And with all of this, multiple sources close to Donald Trump have acknowledged that the president has not been thrilled with some of the past episodes of Patel's performance, including, of course, his feud with Pam Bondi over the administration's hiding of the Jeffrey Epstein case. So, Donald Trump is reportedly furious with Kash Patel for being completely incompetent, which is ironic, because that's exactly who Kash Patel has always been. But here's the thing. Everything Patel does, every reckless move and unhinged statement, isn't really about policy or governance. It's about pleasing an audience of one. Like everyone else in Trump's orbit, Patel exists to feed Donald Trump's ego. And if what Kash Patel is saying or doing puts Americans at risk, it's because Trump's ego demands it. We are dealing with a man so obsessed with himself that everything in government has to revolve around him, even if it endangers the country. From shutting down the government to hide the Epstein files, to making 42 million Americans food insecure while healthcare costs skyrocket, Trump simply doesn't care. His focus is on building his next vanity project, the big baby ballroom, not on helping the people he swore to serve. What's truly alarming is that some of the most irresponsible people to ever hold office now have access to some of the most powerful surveillance technology ever developed. and they're using it to target Trump's political enemies. The scale of this abuse, as Rachel Maddow recently explained, shows just how dangerous this new authoritarian police state mindset has become under Trump's leadership.
Been laid to a piece of spyware, cell phone spyware called Pegasus. It's spyware that infects your phone. They target your phone. You don't have to do anything wrong to be infected with it. You don't have to click on anything or do anything. They infect your phone with this spyware without you ever knowing it. Your phone shows no sign of it. And once they have infected your phone, they get access to everything that is on your phone and everything that you do with your phone. They can access its location at any time. They can turn on the microphone to hear what's happening where you are. They can turn on the camera to see you and what's around you. They can see all of the photos on your phone, all of your contacts, all of your messages, all of your notes to self, everything, even stuff that you might think is encrypted. It's not encrypted when you look at it on your phone. If you can look at it on your phone, they will have it. People close to Jamal Khashoggi were found to have been targeted, to have had their phones targeted with Pegasus software before he was murdered. Pegasus has been used to target opposition politicians and activists and lawyers and journalists all over the world, some of whom have subsequently been assassinated by despotic regimes. When this kind of a spyware surveillance tool emerged as a favored weapon for authoritarian governments and murderous dictatorships around the world, the Joe Biden administration banned the U.S. government from ever using that particular spyware or anything like it. Well, then Donald Trump was elected, and the Trump administration has now quietly reversed that ban. And indeed, they have now contracted with a company that makes exactly that same kind of spyware as Pegasus. And which part of the Trump administration is using it? Which part of the Trump administration has been given this surveillance tool? ICE. And are they using it just against immigrants? Yeah, right, as if.
I don't want Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, or Kristi Noem spying on me, or on anyone else. And I don't think that's a controversial opinion. That kind of government surveillance is terrifying, plain and simple, and it's something Democrats need to talk about more openly. Republicans love to claim that we're the ones against free speech, that progressives cancel people for saying whatever they want. But let's be honest. Calling out a racist influencer who does blackface or a sexist YouTuber who says women belong in the kitchen isn't an attack on free speech, it's accountability. If people don't want to be around you because you're a bigot, that's not censorship, that's consequences. The real attack on free speech happens when the government uses surveillance tools to monitor citizens, intimidate critics, and punish dissent. When Donald Trump's allies want to track what students are saying about Israel on college campuses, or when they threaten to criminalize protest, that's state repression. That's what we should be sounding the alarm about as Democrats, liberals, and progressives. They're not using advanced surveillance technology out of curiosity. They're using it to control and scare people into silence. And we're going to keep calling that out on this show. So if you want to support what we're doing, then hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.